Why are your eyes always on me, human? The alien woman's question left me speechless. Daniel paced down the long corridor of the space station. The walls were smooth and metallic, reflecting the soft light that ran along the ceiling. The hum of machinery and distant footsteps created a quiet rhythm. He had never been on a station like this before. This was not a human outpost. Different species walked alongside him, each looking different, moving differently. Some floated, some had extra arms, some had skin that shimmered in the light. Daniel kept his head down mostly, trying to follow the directions he had been given. He felt nervous and out of place. He had been sent here as part of a special mission. Humans were still new to working closely with some alien civilizations. His orders were simple: observe, report, and make sure humans behaved respectfully. Daniel was not sure how well he could manage that. As he turned a corner, he noticed a figure standing alone near a set of large observation windows. She was taller than most humans, with smooth, pale skin that seemed almost silver in the light. Her eyes were large and a deep shade of violet. They seemed to glow faintly. Daniel felt a strange pull toward her. He didn't understand why, but he could not stop looking. The alien woman looked at him too, not in a quick glance, but in a way that made him feel as though she could see inside him. She did not smile, she did not frown. She simply looked. Daniel stopped walking for a moment and felt his heart beat faster. "Can I help you?" he asked, trying to sound calm, though his voice sounded too loud in the quiet corridor. She tilted her head slightly. "Why are your eyes always on me, human?" she asked. Her voice was smooth and musical, with a strange rhythm he could not place. Daniel blinked. He had not expected her to speak to him. He felt his face grow hot. I didn't mean to stare," he said. He realized how strange that must have sounded. I was looking." I guess I noticed you." She raised one eyebrow. "Humans notice quickly," she said, a hint of curiosity in her tone. "In my world, looking means intention. You stare, you want, or you fear. Which is it?" Daniel shook his head. "Neither," he said quickly. "I don't want anything. I'm not afraid. I guess I'm curious, that's all." Her gaze did not soften, but it did not harden either. It simply stayed on him. Daniel felt awkward and exposed. He had never been looked at this way before. Even during training, when instructors were strict, no one had ever looked at him with that intensity. "Curiosity is dangerous sometimes," she said quietly. "Especially for humans. You see too much. You learn too much. You judge too fast." Daniel nodded. "I understand. I'll try to be more careful." He felt a strange tension between them. He wanted to turn away, but he could not. Something about her presence kept him rooted. The corridor filled with more people, and Daniel realized it was time to move. He continued down the path, glancing back. The alien woman was still standing near the window, watching him as if she had known he would come. Daniel felt a shiver run down his spine. Later, during his orientation, Daniel learned more about the station. It was called Urandor Station, a hub for trade, diplomacy, and research among many species. Humans were still a minority here. Most species had been working together for hundreds of years. Humans were new, still learning customs, still being watched carefully. Daniel met his supervisor, a human woman named Claire. She had been here for several years and knew the customs better than anyone. She looked at him with a mixture of amusement and concern. "You've noticed her, haven't you?" Claire asked, raising an eyebrow. Daniel blinked. "Her, the alien by the windows?" "Yes," Claire said with a small smile. "Her name is Lyra. She's not like most of the others. Her people can sense feelings through eye contact. They notice more than you think." Daniel swallowed. "Notice what?" "Intent," Claire said simply. "Whether you are afraid, curious, or lying. And they never forget the first impression. Lyra, well, she has a long memory." Daniel felt a weight on his chest. He had not realized that his staring, even if unintentional, could have been noticed so deeply. "Don't worry too much," Claire continued. "Just be polite, keep your distance, and you'll be fine. but try not to look at her too much. She might interpret it wrong." Daniel nodded, but he could not help glancing back toward the observation windows. Lyra was still there. She had not moved. She was looking at the stars outside, or maybe at him. He could not tell. Over the next few days, Daniel tried to blend in. He walked the halls, observed, and reported as instructed. But no matter what he did, he kept seeing Lyra's face in his mind. He noticed her movements, the way she tilted her head, the way her eyes seemed to glow faintly in the light. It was strange, almost distracting. He had never met anyone like her. One afternoon, while he was reviewing data in a quiet room, Lyra appeared at the doorway. Daniel almost jumped. She did not knock or announce herself. She simply stepped inside, her eyes fixed on him. "You work too much," she said softly. "Humans always work. You watch and learn, but you forget to notice the world around you." Daniel blinked. I have duties. I need to observe and report." She smiled faintly, not a full smile, but enough to show amusement. "Observation is not the same as seeing," she said. "You look at things, but you do not always understand them. Your eyes follow, but your mind does not always catch up." Daniel realized she was right. He had been so focused on following orders that he had not really noticed anything. Not the way the light reflected off the windows, not the small details of other species moving through the station, not even how she seemed different. "I want to understand," he said slowly. "That is why I look." Lyra tilted her head. "Then perhaps you are learning," she said. Her voice was calm, but there was a depth to it that made Daniel feel as if she were speaking directly to his thoughts. He looked at her and felt an unfamiliar mix of fear and curiosity. He wanted to ask questions, to know more about her people, but he did not want to seem rude or intrusive. He also felt a strange need to keep her safe, though he did not know why. Days passed, and Daniel found himself seeking out moments when he might see her. Sometimes she was in the observation rooms, watching the stars. Sometimes she was in the corridors, moving gracefully among others. She never spoke much, but her eyes always seemed to find him. One evening, as the station's artificial sun dimmed to mimic night, Daniel found himself in the observation deck again. Lyra was there, sitting on a raised platform, her legs crossed. She looked at the stars, then at him. "You keep looking," she said softly. "Even when I am not here." Daniel felt his throat dry. I cannot help it," he admitted. "I am curious. I want to understand you, your people, everything here." She studied him for a long moment. Then she nodded slowly. "Curiosity is dangerous, human. But perhaps it is also necessary. You are different from others of your kind." Daniel did not know whether to feel proud or nervous. Different could mean many things. "You will need to learn quickly," she said. "Not just about my people, but about yourself. Humans often do not understand the consequences of their actions here." Daniel nodded, though he did not fully understand. He wanted to ask more questions, but she rose and walked toward the door. Before leaving, she turned and said, "Your eyes are always on me. Remember, watching is not always safe. Sometimes it changes the watcher as much as the watched." Daniel watched her go, his heart beating fast. He did not fully understand what she meant, but a sense of anticipation grew inside him. Something about Lyra was different. She was not just another alien on the station. She was significant. That night, Daniel lay in his quarters, staring at the ceiling. He could not stop thinking about Lyra. Her question repeated in his mind. "Why are your eyes always on me?" He realized that he did not just look at her out of curiosity. He looked because something about her demanded attention. Something about her made him feel alive, alert, and aware in a way he had never felt before. And he knew that the next day and every day after he would find himself watching, learning, and trying to understand her, no matter the risk. The next morning, Daniel woke early. The station's lights shifted slowly to simulate dawn. He stretched and rubbed his eyes. Thoughts of Lyra were already in his mind. He wondered where she was, what she was doing, and why her question haunted him so much. He walked to the observation deck again. It was quieter than usual. Most species were still in their quarters or moving slowly through the halls. Daniel spotted Lyra standing near the railing, looking down at the docking bay. She did not turn to greet him, but somehow he felt she knew he was there. "I see you again," she said quietly, without looking directly at him. Her voice seemed to carry through the still air like a soft melody. Daniel hesitated. "Good morning," he said, trying to sound casual. I just wanted to see the view." Lyra finally turned her head slightly. Her eyes met his, glowing faintly as if she could read his thoughts. Daniel felt the same strange tension from before, as if she could see every part of him. "You come here often," she said. "Not for the view, human, you come for me." Daniel swallowed. He did not know how to respond. He wanted to say she was wrong, that he came here to observe the station, the people, everything. But he knew it would be a lie. He had come here to see her. He had wanted to understand her since the first moment. "You are right," he admitted. I want to understand. I want to know why you look at me the way you do. I want to understand your people, your customs, everything." Lyra stepped closer, and for a moment Daniel felt afraid. Not because she seemed dangerous, but because he felt exposed. Her gaze was too deep, too focused. It felt as if she could look through his skin and into his mind. "You are different from other humans," she said softly. "Most would not admit this. Most would hide or lie or turn away. But you speak truth, even if it is small." Daniel nodded. "I try. I want to be honest. I don't want to make mistakes. I don't understand your people yet. I only want to learn." Her eyes narrowed slightly, and she studied him as if weighing every word. "Learning is not easy," she said. "Not for humans, not for my kind. There are dangers here, things you do not see. You watch, but you may not be ready to act." Daniel felt a chill. He had expected this station to be orderly, controlled. He had not thought much about danger. But now, standing here with her, he realized he might be in a place where one wrong move could have consequences. "I want to be ready," he said. "I want to know what to do if something happens. I want to protect people and maybe you." Her gaze softened slightly. "Protect me?" she asked. "Do you understand what that means for you, human? Protecting a member of my people is more than you think. It changes you, it marks you." Daniel frowned. "Marks me? How?" She looked away toward the stars beyond the window. "When you protect someone like me, you are no longer just yourself. You become part of a bond. You take on responsibility you do not fully understand. You carry it always, and it is not light. It can weigh on you even after danger passes." Daniel considered her words. He did not know if he was ready for that kind of responsibility, but he knew one thing: he could not ignore her. He could not stop watching her, even if it was dangerous. He wanted to understand. He wanted to help. I understand," he said slowly. "I do not know everything, but I am willing to learn. I am willing to take responsibility. I do not want to just watch. I want to act when it matters." Lyra turned her head back to him. Her violet eyes seemed to shine brighter in the soft light. "You speak with courage, human. And perhaps that is why your eyes find me. You are not afraid to see what others might avoid. You are not afraid to see me, to face what your people might not face." Daniel felt a strange warmth in his chest. He did not know why her words affected him so much. Her gaze was not flattering or gentle, but it was honest, and somehow that honesty made him feel seen for the first time. "You ask why I look at you," Daniel said, his voice quieter now. "I think I am starting to understand. You are different. You make me see things I cannot ignore. I notice you because I want to understand, because I want to know the truth about this place, about your people, and about you." Lyra tilted her head. She looked at him for a long moment, her expression unreadable. Then she nodded slowly. "Perhaps humans are not as blind as we feared," she said, "and perhaps not all humans are dangerous." Daniel smiled faintly. "I am not dangerous," he said. I want to understand, and I want to help if I can." She looked at him again, and this time there was a trace of amusement in her eyes. "Your kind often believes words are enough. They think speaking truth is enough to prove courage. But action is what matters. Words without action are hollow. Daniel nodded. Then I will act. I will not just speak. I will prove that my words mean something. For a few minutes they stood in silence, watching the station below. Daniel felt a bond forming, though he did not know how or why. Lyra's people were cautious, careful, and mysterious. But he could feel a connection growing. He could feel trust beginning, small as it was. Suddenly, the alarms of the station sounded. Red lights flashed across the corridors. Daniel's heart leapt. Something was happening. He looked at Lyra. Her expression had changed. Calm but alert. Her eyes glowed brighter, reflecting the emergency lights. "Stay behind me," she said quickly. "Follow my lead." Daniel nodded. He did not know what to expect, but instinct told him she could handle this better than he could. He followed her as she moved toward the source of the alarm, her steps quick and precise. They reached a control room where several other aliens were already gathering. Lyra moved among them with authority, speaking in her melodic language. Daniel watched, trying to understand but mostly trying to stay out of the way. Then a report came in. Something had breached the docking bay. Unknown ships, unregistered, were approaching fast. The station's defenses had limited time to respond. Panic began to ripple through the room. Daniel's training kicked in. He followed protocols, helping where he could, but he kept glancing at Lyra. She moved with calm efficiency, giving orders that others followed without question. Her eyes met his for a brief moment. He saw trust there, but also concern. "You are watching again," she said quietly, almost a whisper. "Do not just watch, help, decide, move." Daniel felt a surge of determination. He stepped forward, coordinating with station staff to secure civilians, check exits, and prepare for a potential attack. For the first time, he realized that his eyes were not just observing. They were learning, understanding, and preparing. He was part of the action now. The alarms continued to blare. The unknown ships grew closer. Daniel felt fear, but it was mixed with focus. He realized that his curiosity about Lyra, about her people, had grown into something more. It had become responsibility. Watching was no longer passive. It demanded action. Lyra glanced at him again. "You are learning quickly, human," she said. "Perhaps more quickly than I expected." Daniel felt his chest swell. He did not fully understand what he was learning, but he felt ready to face whatever came next. He realized that understanding Lyra and her people required courage, not just curiosity. The docking bay's defenses began to engage the unknown ships. Lights flashed, alarms rang, and explosions rocked the outer hull. Daniel and Lyra moved through the control room, coordinating with others, guiding civilians to safety. Daniel noticed that in moments of chaos, her eyes never left him. She watched him, gauging his actions, and he realized he was doing the same with her. He felt a strange connection forming, stronger than before. It was not just curiosity anymore. It was respect, trust, and an unspoken understanding that they would face whatever danger came together. As the battle outside the station continued, Daniel realized something important. Watching, observing, noticing. It was not enough on its own. True understanding required courage, action, and sometimes risk. And for the first time, he felt ready to take that risk, not just for himself, but for Lyra and for everyone on the station. When the alarms finally quieted and the immediate danger passed, Daniel and Lyra stood together in the observation deck. Both were breathing heavily, adrenaline still coursing through their veins. The stars outside were calm again, peaceful as if nothing had happened. "You have learned today," Lyra said softly, "not only to watch but to act, not only to see but to understand. That is why your eyes are on me, and perhaps that is why I do not turn away." Daniel looked at her, finally understanding a part of what she had said before. He did not just see her. He saw responsibility, courage, and trust. And he realized that their connection was no longer just curiosity. It was the beginning of something much deeper. The day after the alarm incident, the station felt quieter than usual. The humans and aliens were moving through the corridors with caution. Some ships had left, some systems were under repair, and the tension in the air was heavy. Daniel walked slowly, feeling the weight of the events that had just occurred. The memory of the unknown ships, the alarms, and the fear in the eyes of the station's residents still lingered in his mind. He made his way to the observation deck. He had learned by now that Lyra often came here when things were tense. He wanted to find her not out of habit, but because he wanted to understand what she thought and how she felt. He found her standing at the railing, looking down at the docking bay. "You are here again," she said quietly, her violet eyes glowing faintly. Daniel stepped closer. "I wanted to see if you were all right," he said, "and I wanted to understand more about your people." Lyra turned to him fully, her gaze steady. "You learned something yesterday," she said. "You acted. You did not just watch. That is rare for humans. Many of your kind panic or hide. You did neither." Daniel nodded. "I tried. I wanted to do the right thing. I wanted to protect people, you included." She studied him for a long moment. "Protect me? Yes. That is what matters. But protecting is not only about action. It is about understanding. You must see the whole situation, not only what is in front of you. You must anticipate, think, and feel what others cannot see." Daniel felt the weight of her words. She was not only talking about the events of the station, she was talking about life, responsibility, and trust. He realized she was teaching him more than survival. She was teaching him how to truly see. "I want to learn," he said. "Teach me. I will do my best." Lyra's eyes softened slightly. "Then you must understand something first," she said. "Humans are different. You are strong, brave, and curious. But your kind often acts before thinking. You are driven by emotion, desire, and instinct. These can save you or they can destroy you. My people, we watch, we think, we measure, we act carefully. When we act, it is precise and deliberate." Daniel nodded. "I understand. I want to be careful, but I also want to be ready to act when it matters. I do not want to freeze in fear." She walked closer. "Fear is not weakness. Fear is understanding risk. Humans often ignore it, and that is why you are both dangerous and courageous. You saw the threat yesterday, yet you did not let fear stop you. That is why I watched you. That is why I continue to watch you." Daniel felt a strange mixture of pride and nervousness. He had never been praised like this, especially not by someone like Lyra. Her words were honest, measured, and unlike anything he had heard from other humans or even other species. "Your eyes are always on me," she said quietly, "and now I see why. It is not curiosity alone. It is understanding, responsibility, and perhaps connection." Daniel felt his heart beat faster. "Connection?" he asked. "Yes," she said. "Humans connect through action and emotion. Your eyes follow me because you feel something that goes beyond observation. You feel care, protection, and trust. That is rare, human. You do not even fully realize it yet, but it is there." Daniel swallowed. He did not know how to respond. He had felt a connection since the first moment he saw her, but hearing her confirm it made it real. Before he could speak, the station's communications buzzed. A message flashed across the screen in the observation deck. Daniel saw it and frowned. The message was from one of the outer docking bays. Sensors had detected another unknown ship approaching. It moved differently from yesterday's. Faster, quieter, and with more intent. Lyra's expression changed. Her calm composure shifted slightly to alertness. "This is not coincidence," she said. "They are coming intentionally. Perhaps they seek humans, or perhaps they seek my people. Either way, danger is near." Daniel felt the adrenaline start to flow again. "What should we do?" he asked. She looked at him steadily. "We prepare. We do not wait. You have learned yesterday, human. Today you act with purpose. Watch, yes, but also think. Anticipate. Protect. Your eyes must see what others cannot, but your mind must guide your hands." Daniel nodded. He felt a strange sense of calm despite the rising tension. He was learning quickly from her, and he realized that their connection was more than curiosity. It was trust. Lyra trusted him to act, and he trusted her to guide him. They moved quickly through the station, checking the security systems, coordinating with other species, and preparing the docking bays for possible breach. Daniel noticed that when Lyra moved, others followed her without question. She was respected, feared, and trusted by her people, and Daniel realized that in order to protect her, he would need to earn that same respect. As they reached one of the docking bays, the sensors indicated the ship was closing in fast. The crew of the station was tense. Many species were frightened. Daniel could see fear in their eyes, but he also saw determination. They had survived before, and they would survive again. Lyra placed a hand on his shoulder. "Do not hesitate, human. You must act. Your eyes must guide you, but your hands must protect." Daniel nodded. He felt a surge of determination. He had learned from her, observed her, and now it was his turn to act. He moved quickly, helping to guide civilians to safe areas, checking doors, and preparing defenses. Every step he took, he could feel Lyra watching him, her eyes glowing softly, encouraging him without a word. The unknown ship arrived at the station's perimeter. Its movements were deliberate, testing the defenses. Daniel coordinated with station staff, guiding turrets and preparing escape routes. Lyra moved among the crew, giving orders in her melodic language. Daniel watched her, amazed at her focus and precision. She was calm, controlled, and utterly fearless. Then a sudden explosion shook the docking bay. Daniel was thrown to the floor but immediately scrambled to his feet. He saw smoke and fire rising from one of the outer platforms. Civilians were screaming, and some crew members were injured. Daniel ran toward the chaos, helping wherever he could. Lyra was nearby, directing others with calm authority. "You see now," she said quickly, her eyes locking onto his. "This is why your eyes follow me, because in chaos you need guidance, you need understanding, and you need courage." Daniel nodded. He felt a surge of energy. He helped pull civilians to safety, guided injured crew members, and coordinated with the station's defenses. He realized that his connection to Lyra was helping him stay focused. He trusted her guidance, and in turn, she trusted his actions. The ship outside fired again, and another section of the station shook. Daniel ducked behind a control panel, feeling the vibrations in his chest. He saw Lyra moving calmly through the chaos, her violet eyes glowing as she directed others. Daniel realized something important. Watching was not passive. Observing with understanding and acting with courage were the same. They were connected. Hours seemed to pass, though it was likely only minutes. The station crew worked together, humans and aliens alike, under Lyra's guidance. Daniel felt proud of himself for the first time in a long while. He was not just observing. He was acting, contributing, and protecting. And he felt that Lyra recognized it. Finally, the unknown ship retreated. Sensors confirmed it was moving away, likely realizing the station was defended. Daniel and Lyra looked at each other, breathing heavily but relieved. The station was safe for now. "You did well, human," Lyra said softly. "You acted with courage, with understanding. You proved that your eyes do not only watch, they see and they act." Daniel felt a warmth in his chest. "I could not have done it without you," he admitted. "Your guidance, it helped me. You helped me understand what to do." She tilted her head slightly, her eyes meeting his. "And you helped me see something as well," she said quietly. "You showed me that humans can be trusted. Not all of your kind are dangerous. Some can be guardians. Some can see and act with care. That is why your eyes are on me. Not just curiosity, but respect, courage, and trust." Daniel nodded, understanding for the first time what her first question had truly meant. She had not asked to tease him or accuse him. She had asked because she wanted to understand him, just as he wanted to understand her. And in that mutual understanding, something began to grow, a bond of respect and trust that went beyond words. As they stood together, looking at the stars outside, Daniel realized that he had learned more than just station protocols or alien behavior. He had learned about courage, trust, and the responsibility that came with seeing clearly. He had learned that watching someone, truly watching, could mean much more than observation. It could mean connection, care, and understanding. Lyra's eyes met his one last time before she turned back toward the docking bay. Daniel felt a strange sense of peace. He knew this was only the beginning. The station was safe for now, but danger could return at any time, and when it did, he would be ready. Not just as a human, but as someone who had learned to see, understand, and act with courage, someone Lyra could trust. The station was quiet in the early hours, but Daniel knew it was only a temporary peace. The unknown ships had retreated, but their presence lingered in every corridor, in every glance between the different species aboard the station. Daniel walked through the halls, checking systems and talking quietly with crew members. He had learned that even small reassurances could calm fear. He found Lyra in the observation deck again. She was standing near the railing, her eyes fixed on the stars outside. Daniel approached carefully, not wanting to startle her. "You are here again," she said softly, turning her head just enough to look at him. Her eyes glowed faintly in the dim light. "I wanted to check on you," Daniel said. "And on the station. I want to help. I don't want to just watch anymore." She studied him, her gaze sharp and steady. "Yesterday you acted. You saw, you understood, and you protected. Today you must do more. The threat may return, and when it does, it will not be easy." Daniel nodded. He felt a mixture of fear and determination. He had faced chaos yesterday, but he had survived. He had learned, and he knew that with Lyra's guidance he could act even more effectively. Before he could speak further, the station's alarms blared again. Red lights flashed across the corridors, warning of an incoming breach. Daniel's heart leapt. Lyra's expression changed instantly. Calm, precise, and commanding. She moved quickly to the communications console and spoke in her melodic language. Daniel watched, impressed by her focus. Her people respected her, and in turn others followed her instructions without hesitation. Daniel ran to join her. "What's happening?" he asked. "Another ship," she said. "Larger this time, more aggressive. They are coming for us. For humans, for my people, perhaps for both." Daniel felt adrenaline surge through him. This was no longer practice or observation. This was real. Lives were at stake. "Prepare the docking bays," Lyra ordered. "Coordinate with defense teams. Evacuate civilians if necessary. Move quickly but carefully." Daniel moved immediately, following her instructions. He helped organize personnel, guided civilians to safe zones, and checked security systems. Every step he took, he remembered her words. See clearly, understand fully, act decisively. The ship appeared on the station's sensors. It was massive, dark, and moving fast. Its energy readings were high, indicating powerful weapons. Daniel's stomach tightened. He had never seen anything like this before. Lyra walked beside him, her eyes glowing as she observed the ship's approach. "Stay close," she said quietly. "Watch, human, but do not hesitate. You must act when the time comes." Daniel nodded. He felt a strange mix of fear and trust. He trusted Lyra completely. And he knew she trusted him. The ship fired first, striking one of the outer docking platforms. Explosions rocked the station. Daniel dove to the ground, pulling a nearby crew member to safety. Smoke and debris filled the corridors. Panic spread among those who had not yet been evacuated. "Keep moving," Lyra's voice rang out. She was everywhere at once, directing crews, calming frightened personnel, and guiding those in danger. Daniel followed her lead, helping where he could. He felt a surge of determination. This was what he had been preparing for. This was what Lyra had been teaching him. He was no longer just a watcher. He was an actor, a protector, a human who could face danger and make a difference. Another explosion shook the station, closer this time. Daniel saw that one of the energy shields was failing. Without hesitation, He ran to the control panel and activated backup systems. Sparks flew around him, but he focused, remembering every instruction Lyra had given. Lyra moved past him, checking the evacuation zones. Her eyes met his for a brief moment, and Daniel felt a strange reassurance. He knew that as long as he followed her guidance and trusted his instincts, he could survive this. The unknown ship sent smaller drones toward the station. They moved quickly, targeting critical systems. Daniel ran to intercept one, using a control override to disable it. Another drone exploded nearby, sending him flying against a wall. Pain shot through his arm, but he pushed himself up and continued. Lyra noticed immediately. She moved to him, her hands glowing faintly as she activated a protective shield around both of them. "Are you hurt?" she asked. Daniel shook his head. "I'm fine," he said, though the pain throbbed. "We have to keep moving," she nodded. "Yes, focus, protect others, trust yourself." Together, they moved through the chaos, helping injured crew members, guiding civilians, and coordinating defenses. Daniel realized that he had never felt more alive. The fear, the danger, the responsibility, it all sharpened his senses, made him see things he would have missed before. Hours seemed to pass in what could only have been minutes. The station's defenses, guided by Lyra and supported by Daniel, managed to repel the drones and stabilize the shields. The larger ship had not yet breached the main docking bay, but the battle was far from over. During a brief pause, Daniel caught his breath in a quiet corridor. Lyra stood beside him, her eyes still glowing faintly. She looked at him, not with judgment but with something else, something like approval. "You are learning quickly," she said. "You are not just human, Daniel. You are something more. You see, you act, you understand. That is why I watch you. That is why I do not turn away." Daniel felt his chest tighten. I could not do this without you," he admitted. "Your guidance, it keeps me focused. It helps me see what I need to do." She tilted her head slightly. "And you help me as well," she said softly. "You show me that humans can be trusted, that they can act with courage even in the face of chaos. That is rare. That is important." Suddenly, the ship fired a massive energy beam at one of the station's outer hull sections. Daniel and Lyra dove behind a bulkhead. The station shook violently, alarms blaring louder than ever. Daniel felt fear, but it was mixed with determination. "We must move to the central control room," Lyra said. "It is our only chance to stop this ship before it breaches the station completely." Daniel nodded. Together, they ran through the corridors, dodging debris and fire. They reached the control room, where several crew members were already working frantically. Lyra took command immediately, issuing orders in her melodic language. Daniel moved quickly, assisting where he could, following her instructions precisely. The central control room had the station's primary weapon systems. Daniel helped aim the turrets, calculated shield frequencies, and coordinated with other teams. Lyra moved among them, her eyes glowing as she guided everyone with calm authority. The massive ship fired again, but this time, the station's defenses, coordinated by Daniel and Lyra, managed to block the attack. Energy shields flared, absorbing the impact. Daniel felt a surge of pride and relief. They were holding it off. Lyra placed a hand on his shoulder. "See, you act well. You do not hesitate. That is why your eyes are on me. You are learning, human, and you are becoming someone my people can trust." Daniel felt warmth spread through him. He realized that their bond had grown stronger in the chaos. He trusted her completely, and she trusted him. Together, they were more than human or alien. They were a team. The battle continued for hours, with the unknown ship testing the station's defenses, sending drones and firing energy beams. Daniel and Lyra worked tirelessly, guiding crews, protecting civilians, and keeping the station operational. Every action, every decision mattered. Finally, the unknown ship began to retreat. Its attack slowed and the drones were destroyed or disabled. The station's alarms quieted and the lights returned to normal. Daniel and Lyra stood together in the control room, breathing heavily but relieved. "You did well," Lyra said softly, her eyes glowing faintly. "You acted with courage, with understanding, with care. You have proven yourself today." Daniel shook his head slightly, smiling tiredly. "We did it together. I could not have done it without you," she nodded. "And you have taught me something as well. Humans can be trusted. Humans can act with courage and care. That is why your eyes are always on me. That is why I do not look away." Daniel felt a strange peace wash over him. The danger had passed, but the lessons remained. Watching, understanding, acting, they were all connected. And now he knew that his bond with Lyra was real. It was trust, respect, and something deeper that neither of them fully understood yet. As they stood together, looking at the stars beyond the observation deck, Daniel realized that he had changed. He was no longer just a human observing an alien. He was a protector, a partner, and someone who had earned the trust of a species that had feared humans for centuries. And he knew that whatever came next, he and Lyra would face it together. The station was quiet again. The alarms were silent, the lights steady, and the hum of the machinery returned to its usual rhythm. Daniel walked slowly through the corridors, exhausted but alert. His uniform was dusty and scorched in places, and his hands still shook slightly from the adrenaline of the past hours. He paused outside the observation deck, taking a deep breath. He could hear the faint voices of other crew members moving through the station, checking systems, assisting those who had been injured, and repairing minor damages. For the first time, he allowed himself to feel the weight of what had happened. Lyra was already at the railing, looking out at the stars. Her violet eyes glowed faintly, reflecting the calm light of the station. Daniel stepped closer. She did not look at him immediately, but he felt her presence as strongly as ever. "You came," she said quietly, her voice soft but steady. "I had to," Daniel said. "I needed to see you and to know the station is safe." She turned to face him, her expression calm. "It is safe for now. The attackers have left and the station's defenses are repaired. But this will not be the last time humans and my people face danger together. That is why watching, understanding, and acting are so important." Daniel nodded. "I understand more now. Not just about danger, but about responsibility, about trust, about connection." Lyra's eyes softened. "Yes, that is why your eyes are always on me, human. Not curiosity alone, but respect, understanding, and care. You do not just watch, you see, and that is rare among your kind." Daniel felt warmth rise in his chest. I did not realize it at first. But I see it now. I see that protecting, understanding, and trusting, it is more than just action. It is connection, and I want to be part of that." Lyra stepped closer. "Then you already are," she said quietly. "Even now, your actions speak louder than your words. You have earned trust, not only mine, but of my people, and that changes everything." Daniel looked out at the stars with her, feeling the calm after the storm. He remembered the chaos of the past hours, the explosions, the panic, the fear, and he realized how much he had grown. He had acted with courage, guided by understanding, and protected lives, and in doing so he had earned a place of trust among beings who had once feared humans. "We should walk," Lyra said. "There are others to check on, crews, civilians, and my people. They need reassurance. And perhaps some guidance from you, human. You have learned quickly." Daniel followed her, moving through the station's corridors. He noticed the subtle changes around him. Crew members were calmer, aliens moved with more confidence, and humans were no longer just observers. They were active participants in protecting the station. Daniel realized that their combined actions had created a ripple effect. Courage, trust, and responsibility spread through the station, changing how everyone behaved. As they reached one of the central halls, Daniel noticed groups of alien civilians still shaken by the attacks. Lyra spoke softly to them, her melodic voice calm and commanding. Daniel stepped forward, helping to guide families to safe areas and explaining the repairs being made. His presence reassured them, and for the first time, some of the aliens looked at him without fear. "You are learning," Lyra said quietly as they moved together. "Your actions are not unnoticed. That is why your eyes follow me and why my people are beginning to see humans differently." Daniel smiled faintly. "I hope they do. Humans, we are still new here, but I want to prove we can be trusted. That we can help and not just cause trouble." Lyra's violet eyes met his. "You already have," she said, "and that will matter long after today. Trust takes time, but your actions accelerate it. You are part of something larger than yourself now." They continued through the station, checking systems and speaking to crew members. Daniel felt a growing sense of pride. Not pride in himself alone, but pride in what humans could do when they acted with courage and understanding. He realized that being human was not just about strength or technology. It was about the ability to see clearly, to act responsibly, and to connect with others. Finally, they reached the main assembly hall. Several species had gathered, observing the aftermath of the attack. Lyra stepped forward, her glowing eyes scanning the crowd. Daniel followed, standing beside her. He could feel the weight of the moment. This was more than just a debriefing. It was a statement, a declaration that humans could be trusted and that cooperation could overcome fear. "My people," Lyra began, her voice carrying across the hall, "the humans you have feared, they have proven themselves today. Not all humans are dangerous. Some of them act with courage, with care, and with understanding. One human in particular has shown that observation can become action and curiosity can become trust." She turned slightly, and her violet eyes met Daniel's. "Daniel is that human. He watched, he learned, and he acted. Not for glory, not for reward, but to protect, to understand, and to build trust. That is rare. That is important. That is why your eyes are always on me, human," she said softly, "and why I have not looked away from you." Daniel felt his chest tighten. He had never experienced anything like this. He had been nervous, unsure, and even fearful in the past days. But now, standing beside Lyra, he felt seen, respected, and trusted. He realized that the bond between them was more than curiosity. It was mutual recognition, understanding, and courage. "Your people have begun to see humans differently," Lyra continued. "Not because of words, but because of actions. Actions speak louder than words. And actions today have proven that humans can be allies, protectors, and guardians." Daniel looked around the hall, seeing the subtle nods of approval, the cautious smiles, and the relieved expressions. He realized that their combined efforts had changed more than the outcome of the attack. They had changed perceptions. Trust had been built in the heat of danger, and respect had been earned through courage. After the assembly, Daniel and Lyra walked quietly through the observation deck again. The stars stretched endlessly before them, calm and beautiful after the storm. Daniel felt a sense of peace he had never known. "You have changed, human," Lyra said softly. "Not only in your actions, but in your understanding. You see what matters, you understand responsibility, you act with courage and care. That is why your eyes are always on me and why I do not look away." Daniel smiled faintly. "I have learned from you," he said. "You showed me how to see clearly, how to act, and how to trust. I could not have done this without you." She nodded, her expression softening. "Then we have both learned. Trust, courage, and understanding. These are not limited to one species. They are universal. And today, humans and my people have seen that clearly." They stood in silence for a while, looking at the stars. Daniel realized that this was only the beginning. The attacks had been repelled, but the future held many challenges. He felt ready, not just as a human, but as someone who could act with understanding, courage, and care. And he knew that with Lyra by his side, he could face whatever came next. "You will continue to watch," Lyra said quietly, her violet eyes meeting his. "Not as a passive observer, but as someone who acts, who protects, who builds trust. That is why I do not look away. Daniel nodded. I will, he said firmly. Not just for you, but for my people and for yours. I will act, understand, and protect. That is my duty now. Lyra's lips curved into the faintest smile. Then we are ready, she said softly. Ready for whatever comes next, together. Daniel felt a warmth spread through him, a sense of belonging and purpose. For the first time, he truly understood what it meant to be human, not just to survive, but to act with courage, understanding, and care. And he understood that connection, trust, and respect were stronger than any weapon. As they looked out at the stars, Daniel realized something important. Lyra had not only taught him to see clearly, she had shown him that human courage could inspire trust, that observation could lead to action, and that care could build bonds across species. And in that quiet moment, he knew that their story was not over. It was only beginning. The station was safe for now. Humans and aliens had seen what could be achieved together. And Daniel and Lyra, human and alien, had formed a bond that would endure, built on trust, courage, and understanding. The stars outside stretched endlessly, calm and silent, but Daniel knew that whatever challenges came next, he and Lyra would face them together. They had seen each other clearly, understood each other deeply, and acted with courage. And that, he realized, was more powerful than anything the galaxy could throw at them.